Coming up, a big step forward for third-class medical reform.
Getting checked out in a B-25, mastering wheel landings,
and making aviation cool for Generation Z. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
It's been called the most sophisticated single-engine airplane ever, but to the people whose loved ones are alive today, it's called a lifesaver. The Cirrus Airframe Parachute System, only from Cirrus Aircraft.
This week, we honor the people and the machines that have and continue to protect democracy. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Melissa Rudinger.
And I'm Tom Haynes. On the 11th minute of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the war to end all wars ended. It was the First World War and the first major use of air power. But it didn't end war, of course.
First, it was called Armistice Day. But more wars followed and more Americans fought and died. World War II, Korea, and then we changed the name to Veterans Day to honor all who have served our country. And on this week of Veterans Day, AOPA is honored to play host to one of the most famous vets from World War II. Dick Cole was Jimmy Doolittle's co-pilot on the Tokyo Raid. AOPA Live's Paul Harrop has the story.
It's an impressive sight to see B-25J Panchito up close. The medium bomber in polished aluminum glory, a larger-than-life relic kept alive for more than 7 decades. But even larger than that are the guts of the men who flew these B-25s, especially those on the Doolittle Raid. The Doolittle Raid was a morale boost for the U.S. after Pearl Harbor. Jimmy Doolittle led volunteer crews who took 16 of these behemoths off the USS Hornet in the Pacific. Dick Cole was co-pilot in the lead airplane. He's the guest of honor at the AOPA National Aviation Community Center. More than 100 people came out to greet Dick Cole.
It's an honor. It's a piece of history.
The Raiders faced many challenges. Many crews bailed out or crashed in China, where the locals helped them.
And they've never forgotten that. And the towns in which these guys operated in the old days have never forgotten that. And there's still monuments dedicated to our collaboration.
Former U.S. Ambassador to China John Huntsman says it means a lot for him to be able to honor Cole today.
We're a nation of a lot of heroes, but some heroes are truly extraordinary heroes, and we're in the presence of one here.
I grew up with a lot of World War II heroes all around. I had members that served in my family, World War II and World War I, and to have the opportunity to share that with my kids really means a lot.
Not everyone gets to see him, so getting a chance like this is really great.
And despite being a living legend and one of the last surviving heroes of World War II, Dick Cole is humble. He's thrilled to see so many people excited about old Mitchell bombers.
I like to see that the interest in aviation is not dead, particularly when they bring their children, and the children learn a little bit about aviation. Aviation is alive and well, and I hope it stays that way.
Paul Harrop, AOPA Live.
Thanks, Paul. What a brave man and a great story. We are very thankful for his service.
The Doolittle Raiders are truly remarkable. I recently got a little taste of what they were up against. The Delaware Aviation Museum Foundation operates B-25 Panchito. They keep the heritage of the airplane alive by allowing people to get warbird training in it, and it's just as amazing as it sounds. It's loud, smoky, and a real handful to fly.
Here comes the traffic coming right now. Do you feel that? Yeah. Okay.
I'm at Delaware's Sussex County Airport to earn my second-in-command type rating on the legendary B-25 Mitchell. We're flying Panchito, owned by the Delaware Aviation Museum Foundation.
This particular airframe, though, was built in the fall of 1944 in Kansas City, at North American plant, and then immediately went into service as a transition trainer.
You're going to go first, correct? Is that Tim? My instructor, Paul Newer.
Okay, we'll assume that.
After lengthy ground school, we get to work in the air.
You know what you're going to do. You got the left throttle and the mixture. As soon as it starts, I'll nod. You're going to go and advance this here. You're not going to advance that one, but you are going to pull it back to keep us below 1,000 RPM, correct?
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Is it in the right position to start?
Right at this little black mark is a good place, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Clear left.
Clear left. From starting the twin Wright R2600 engines to taxi to flying, you have to give this old girl respect.
Power's coming. Contact with the ground. Ready here, now rotate with right rudder in there. Rotate it like this, and be ready to come back down. See how we're just keeping just off the ground. Just off the ground, accelerate. A little bit higher, a little higher, a little higher. No, don't make it, not that angle there. Hold it back.
On takeoff,
Here's coming up.
I'm humbled to think how the Doolittle Raiders did this from the deck of the USS Hornet.
We're about 500 feet coming up now. Left pump, looks good. Right pump, right wing is clean. How's the left one look? Looks clean. Okay, very good.
We practiced a few maneuvers and some slow flight. Nothing unusual here, except I'm reminded that this is a 26,000-pound airplane, and it feels like it.
You're making a turn. You got to lead with the rudder going this way. Tag with it going this way. Yeah. If you want to coordinate it. Yeah.
Demanding two hands on the yoke at all times, max gross, nearly 39,000 pounds.
135. Go slow. I'll roll back here a bit now. Keep it going down. Keep it going down. Okay, now start breaking the descent. And the power's going back. Okay, power's off, so just keep it coming back. Like it. Keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it coming. Keep it back like this. Up, not quite so much. There we go. Now fly like that. There, come on. Okay, now start flying down, fly it down, fly it down, down. Now snap to the end. Look, little like that, a little snap like that. That's good.
Welcome to the B-25 Order of the Greasy Piston. This is a souvenir of your B-25 SIC rating to take home for your office.
Oh, wonderful. Not much carries over from the Bonanza to the B-25, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, the B-25 is just an airplane. And once you get it in the air, it flies like an airplane. You know, although it's very heavy in roll, and you have to put in an input, and then wait for that to, as soon as you feel that beginning to take effect, you got to take it back out again, almost like flying a blimp. That's really what it reminded me the most of, was flying a blimp. The B-25 is an icon of the Second World War. This medium bomber served in many theaters, but is perhaps most well known for its role in that Doolittle raid on Tokyo. Flying this proud machine gave me a whole new level of respect and admiration for those young men of that greatest generation who climbed aboard these mechanical marvels and launched across oceans and continents with the most basic of navigation gear, many of them to never return home again.
You know, all the young men, you know, they climbed in these airplanes, you know, with a letter. They left a letter laying on their bunk, you know, home to their parents, their girlfriend, their wife, or whatever. Because every time they took off, they didn't know if they were coming back.
There's fewer B-25s these days, but Larry Kelly works with a team of volunteers to help keep Panchito alive for future generations.
So some people say maybe I'm a little silly, maybe maybe I'm a little unreal about this, but it is a passion for us, you know, to keep the story alive and keep the airplanes flying and keep the stories going.
So that looks like quite a machine to handle.
It is. It's truly a mechanical marvel, and it's just really is remarkable how it launched these kids out there on these missions without any of the navigation stuff that we have today, and expect them to come back. I was truly honored to just get to sit in that seat and to get the chance to fly. It was just unbelievable. It was really something.
That's great. Good story.
Yeah. One thing to note, the air-to-air video and big camera shots from the cockpit were not taken during my checkout. There are regulations against that, so only the point-of-view cameras were on board during the instruction and the check ride.
So Tom, that's quite a step up from your Bonanza. And so we went to one of the most famous B-25 pilots in the world to get some advice for you.
Okay.
I'm not one to give advice, but he can learn to watch a lot by observing what the first in command does.
Good point.
Good advice.
Great co-pilot makes great pilots, yeah. No doubt about it.
I'm sure he'd be happy to give you some more advice in the future.
I'll look forward to that.
Great. B-25 crews and other World War II aviators usually wore leather flight jackets. Photographer John Schlemp from Atlanta became fascinated with those jackets and the veterans who wore them. He decided to tell their stories through their jackets. And we have a slideshow of some of his photos running right now on AOPA.org.
Suddenly, progress on the Pilot's Bill of Rights, too. The Senate Commerce Committee has scheduled the bill for markup next week. That's an important step to get the bill to the full Senate for a vote.
The Senate Commerce Committee has a huge portfolio of issues, from telecommunications to transportation to space, all types of things. And it is significant that we were able to help get the Pilot's Bill of Rights on the calendar and address this and move this forward. It just gives a lot of credit to our members for making this happen. I'm ecstatic about it, quite frankly.
69 senators have already signed on as co-sponsors for the bill, so that means a good chance of a favorable vote. The bill would allow hundreds of thousands of pilots who have held a valid third-class medical over the past 10 years to fly without needing to get another FAA medical exam. Similar legislation has been introduced in the House. Both chambers must pass the bill and reconcile any differences before it can go to the president for his signature. And a real positive note from Washington, another one. We now have a record number of representatives in the House General Aviation Caucus, 274 to be precise. The caucus gives us a forum in Congress to discuss issues affecting general aviation, including FAA reauthorization and medical certificate reform. You can see if your representative has joined the caucus at aopa.org/advocacy/GA-caucus.
Still in Washington, the Unmanned Aircraft Systems Registration Task Force completed its round of meetings last week. Discussions included how an operator might prove a small drone or UAS is registered and how to mark the drone. Task force members, including AOPA, also talked about how to use the registration process to encourage UAS operators to become educated on basic safety rules. Task force recommendations are scheduled to be sent to the FAA administrator by November 20th.
4 young aviators are getting a big boost from AOPA. The Aviators program awarded $22,000 to 4 teens. Program Director Lauren Otto says the scholarship should be a great shot in the arm for the teens.
A recipient can use it towards flight training, completing their primary training, or towards college tuition, or even if they want to attend an aviation camp.
This year's scholarship program was funded through the AOPA Foundation. If you know a teen that could benefit from the Aviators program, tell them to check out aopa.org/AV, the number 8RS.
Scholarships are one way AOPA is working to get the next generation into aviation. Another is introducing aviation into high schools as a way to advance STEM education. Last weekend, AOPA held the first high school aviation symposium in Lakeland, Florida. Warren Morningstar reports.
American kids are falling behind. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development ranks American 15-year-olds at 29th in the world in math literacy, 22nd in science, and 19th in reading. American businesses can't find employees with the technical skills to fill their jobs.
Our problem is we have a 65,000 square foot facility and we could hire 20 sheet metal fabricators tomorrow, but we can't find them.
And it's not just technicians. Boeing says the world is going to need more than 500,000 new pilots over the next 20 years and 600,000 technicians. And the need goes beyond aviation. In just the next 5 years, the economy is going to create the need for more than 1 million new science, technology, engineering, and math jobs. But within that problem is a solution, not only for getting skilled workers, but also for growing general aviation. AOPA's High School Aviation Initiative is part of that solution.
We are going to go raise money from a lot of individuals from corporations to help sponsor and support this activity. It may start out slow, but we know we're going to build STEAM. And STEAM is the right word: science, technology, engineering, aviation, and math. It is something we're committed to. And as I said, this organization, being 77 years old, knows that we've got to figure out how to create these pathways.
AOPA invited some 150 educators and others interested in aviation education to Lakeland, Florida earlier this week.
Because we want you all to get to know each other. We want you to learn from each other. The whole idea of being here today is for educators to be able to share best practices, share ideas.
Share ideas on how to use aviation to get kids excited about science, technology, engineering, and math.
So we brought that into the high school, and the students wanted more.
Tim Smith runs the National Air and Space Academy in Kentucky. They provide the resources to develop and promote study and proficiency in STEM subjects for students in grades 9 through 12.
Well, our mission is to improve STEM learning through career pathways. This is a CTE program, Career Technical Education. So Career and Technical Education is our vehicle to get this program implemented in the schools. Our schools take our courses from 9th grade to 12th grade, again, as part of Career and Technical Education. If you remember the old wood shop, the old auto mechanics classes, that's what this is, except it's for aerospace.
Now, his program is an example of using aviation to teach STEM in any setting.
Any school can be an Air and Space Academy.
Now, some have taken the approach of building standalone aviation high schools like the West Michigan Aviation Academy.
Tuition-free public charter high school with an emphasis on aviation and engineering. We don't have music, we don't have debate, we don't have some of those elective programs. Our electives are in the area of engineering and aviation.
Another aviation academy profiled at the symposium was Raisbeck Aviation High School outside Seattle,
where the kids are involved in a more or less a perpetual pep rally for technological education. And they're so enthused about what they're doing.
And the enthusiasm among the educators at the symposium was palpable.
So we want to take the successes, grow more of them, take people that have said, I don't think I know how to start this, get them involved, and then try and solve some of the problems that exist in this room. And we want to share that so we have outcomes that are different because we did something about it. Not talked about it, not had meetings about it, but we did something about it.
You can learn more about AOPA's High School Aviation Initiative at the URL there on your screen. In Lakeland, Florida, Warren Morningstar, AOPA Live.
Coming up after the break, are things looking up for the aviation industry?
And taming wheel landings and a tail dragger. You're watching AOPA Live this week.
From your first skyward glance, the dream of flight compelled you. And from your first glimpse of a Cirrus, you realized that dream had a name. Cirrus Aircraft. Go where you've never been before.
Welcome back. You're watching AOPA Live this week.
Some reports now on the state of the general aviation industry. With the ADS-B mandate fast approaching, you might think that avionics sales and installation would be booming. Not quite the case, though. The Aircraft Electronics Association reports that year-to-date sales are down more than 7% compared to last year. Even so, avionics is a $1.7 billion business worldwide.
And things are still soft with piston engine aircraft. Some 719 new piston-powered aircraft have been delivered so far this year, down nearly 11% compared to last year. Shipments of all fixed-wing aircraft are down more than 6%, but billings are up. That's because more business jets are being sold. But a bright spot for pistons is Cirrus Aircraft. They've sold more than 200 SR-20s and 22s through the end of September, and they've just announced that Emirates Airlines will buy 22 Cirrus SR-22s for their primary training program. They'll start shipping those aircraft next year.
And speaking of sales, Lockheed Martin has just bought Sikorsky Aircraft. That deal is worth about $9 billion. Lockheed will keep the Sikorsky brand and continue building the S-76 and other civilian and military models. But it's not clear if Lockheed is going to continue with the small Schweitzer helicopter.
We practice them over and over again during flight training, yet year after year, unintended stalls, including power-on stalls, are among the leading causes of fatal aviation accidents. The AOPA Air Safety Institute is helping you take action to prevent power-on stalls. They have a new video, Margins of Safety, Avoiding Power-on Stalls. The video looks at the differences between power-on stalls done during training and power-on stalls in the real world.
What are the differences? Two, really. And the first is just that the pilot practicing stalls knows what's coming and is ready for it. And because she knows what's happening and her instructor is coaching her, she's paying attention to keeping her control input smooth and the airplane coordinated. And since the airplane's coordinated, the stall breaks pretty much straight ahead, and recovery's just a matter of lowering the nose. There might not be any loss of altitude at all, while if the stall's not coordinated and one wing breaks first, losses of both altitude and directional control are pretty well guaranteed.
You can watch the video at airsafetyinstitute.org/avoiding power-on stalls.
And speaking of flying safely, AOPA pilot editor-at-large Dave Hirschman has some tips for taildragger pilots. He says a wheel landing shouldn't really be a landing at all.
Burn this picture into your mind. A wheel landing isn't really a landing, it's just leveling off at airport elevation. Think about flying the whole length of the runway 1 foot off the ground. If you think about landing, you'll bounce. Why would you want to do a wheel landing? To preserve forward visibility at narrow runways, a wheel landing might be the best thing to do.
Hold it, add a little bit of power, keep holding it, keep holding it, keep holding it.
Forward forward. If you mess up, you can transition to a 3-point landing or just go around. It's up to you to decide whether a wheel landing or a 3-point landing is best for you.
I still like the 3 points. I mean, I'm good, but I just...
Dave Hirschman, AOPA Live.
Boy, I'm with Alyssa on that one. I could never get wheel landings down. Not that I ever got the tail wheel landings down either very well, but how about
Yes,
you?
I agree. I don't think I ever had one, a successful wheel landing.
But, yeah, they are difficult. And that will do it for us this week. Next week, we'll be reporting from the NBAA convention in Las Vegas.
Well, some of us will be in Las Vegas. In any case, we hope to see you back here next Thursday for the very latest general aviation news.